Good people, we in the building. It's another episode, Eagles Elite Podcast, and we moving through the season. We got of course, a game that we're gonna talk about. We ain't even really put it in stuff, but we're gonna talk a little bit about the preseason game, but we're not gonna, blow a gasket because of a win in the preseason. Our twos against their a little bit of their ones, most of their twos, and all that good stuff. Cincinnati. We focusing on trying to get ready for the regular season around these parts. It's good to see some of the guys get some opportunities. In news, I'm sure we'll, you know, throw a couple things out there from that. But at the most part, we focusing on recapping how we got where we got with that Super Bowl victorious victory, and of course, how we building the roster for this year to try to make that repeat happen. Of course, we're gonna talk about the last preseason game. Is what I'm calling it. The last regular season game last year was really a preseason game for us against the Giants, and then we'll jump into first playoff game, wild card matchup against the Packers. Their get back matchup. They try some get back in the offseason too. Y'all whack for that. I ain't gonna forget it no time soon. And we talk about some offseason stuff, depth charts, all that good stuff. Top 100. We got another Eagles player. We got a couple of players from the rival Cowboys who plummeted, rightfully so, based on their play. And I know it's all Eagles, baby. That's what we do. Throw a little bit of NFL every once in a while, but it's Eagles Elite. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Cool McCain, Diva on my side. We're gonna make it happen. But before we do, we need just a little tad bit more hype. Sometimes days be long, life be life and all that. So you just need a little hype.
Get some get right.
Yes, sir.
The kick is away, and the kick it's good! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
All right, good people. We in here. Diva, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. We had our first preseason game, got a little glimpse of what our secondary and firstary gonna look like. Majority of our starters didn't play, but it was still a show because that's what the Philadelphia Eagles do, baby.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in news. In our updates and everything, since it's pretty much updates. Shout out to Tanner McKee. Because a lot of people said a lot of things good and bad about Tanner McKee. Some are valid, some of course are not, because it's what always happens when you play for the Eagles. But he looked good. Again, he played a little bit against their ones, but for the most part, he was playing their backups as well. I think their starters were in for a drive or two, offense and defense. And he looked good. We got a tush push out of McKee. We saw some young guys step up, and I felt like it was what we wanted to see. We know the starters didn't play. We saw how happy the starters were. And did you see when Tanner McKee got the tush push and he ran over and then he jumped and Saquon kind of moved out of the way like, nah, big boy. Mm-mm.
Yeah, because Tanner McKee is he a big boy.
McKee is definitely a big boy. That tush push he was not playing. Saw some good passes, some good reads. I think if you've been paying attention to the Eagles, it was pretty evident that he was going to be our backup. We talked about he should have been a backup last year, but that's neither here nor there. We actually got some value out of Kenny Pickett, which is surprising. Shout out to Howie for getting anything for Kenny Pickett. But I think McKee's a guy that we can have around for some years. We saw a lot of good stuff from some of the guys, backups as far as wide receivers, running backs, all that good stuff, the line. And we'll talk about those guys when we kind of get into the updated depth chart. Not too many changes on it, but we just want to kind of keep you up on the happenings with the depth chart. So before we move on to other news, Diva, anything you want to throw out there about the game?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying for a long time, Kenny Pickett, not Kenny Pickett, but Tanner McKee
McKee.
should have been the backup. He's always played good preseason games. He got better and better each year. And so it feels really good to have a decent backup that can get out there and take Jalen Hurts' spot. He got a little bit of Jalen-esque Hurts in him, a little bit, just a little bit. But if it was good to actually have a backup, I don't feel like I really got to worry about, if Jalen goes out, what's going to happen. I feel like Tanner McKee has made his place and he's gotten better and better. And just watch Jalen, it's good when you have a quarterback like Jalen that you're standing behind. And so I think that's helped him develop his game even better. I've always been a big fan of Tanner McKee, and I'm glad my boy finally get his spot. You know what I'm saying? He deserved that spot. So big ups to Tanner McKee. And yeah, I mean, I'm proud of what I've seen so far. That was just the first preseason game, but I'm proud. We had some little hiccups on the defense a little bit. Some drops that could have been interceptions, but they'll work on. They'll get better. So overall, pretty proud.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. So injury. Landon Dickerson did get injured. Now I'll go into the details. You can if you'd like, but I'll just simply give you the update. Got injured. It actually just ends up being a meniscus tear. Just has a not too invasive procedure to try to fix that, and he's going to be listed as day-to-day. Hopefully, I'll have him back before the beginning of the regular season. We'll see how things go with that, but yeah, that's unfortunate because one of the reasons why we were very good last year is because we were able to keep, for the most part, the line attack. There were guys that missed a game or two, but not a lot of missed games with the offensive line. And then we had that depth. We had a guy like Tyler Steen who will be starting this year, if everything goes as it has been, that was able to be a backup and come in and play some meaningful minutes and look good last year when called upon.
Yeah. So from what I'm hearing right now, I mean, it's unfortunate. I've been hearing that Jadid has been catching a lot of heat for, what happened to Landon. But I mean, the young boy is hungry and, he's just ready to play the game. So I don't really blame him. We just got to make sure we got a good backup. I know Landon throughout the years have had problems with his knees, so it's really not anything new. He did have a few problems with his knees at the end of the postseason. Luckily he was able to tough it out. But yeah, I mean, from what I'm hearing, Matt Pryor will take his spot. So I mean, it just gets the next man up, as they say. So it gets them ready. So if that happens during the regular season, postseason, we got to have confidence that whoever comes in on that line, they're going to protect Jalen. They're going to, push the line. If they need to do a tush push, whatever needs to be done to win the game. We got to make sure next man up is ready. That's all that's important to me. He'll be back.
I dig it. I definitely dig it. So Landon Johnson had some comments, right?
Lane Johnson?
And I said Lane Johnson, sorry.
I was like, who was that?
He talked about Brett Toth. Who's the starting right guard for the moment. I think it will be Pryor to actually be that person if it goes into like the regular season. And Lane Johnson was just saying, a lot of support kind of believes in him and believes that he can get the job done. Long story short, if that were to, if he were to need to be the one to play, but I'm with you. I expect it to be Matt Pryor. We'll see. Malcolm Jenkins is going to get inducted into the Eagles Hall of Fame.
So did you know that he was out there taking photos? I'm like, give the man a job. Like, why is he out there taking photos? Like, he was the photographer for today, and I'm like, okay, give the man a job.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's out there because he's going to be going into the Eagles Hall of Fame. I personally like the move because he was a integral part of our first Super Bowl winning team, let me say. And I think having him and supporting him in that way definitely is what the organization needs. Right? Because you're getting some positive former Eagles players, part of Super Bowl teams, are really great players, are starting to get into the Eagles Hall of Fame. And I think you need that to kind of harken to your past to get ready for your future being great and your present. And I think we're starting to do that. We're starting to see guys from the past at practice. Like today, we got Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick were out there. Obviously, one of the reasons is they're going to have their game between their two HBCUs. They're going to be playing at Lincoln Financial Field at the end of the month. But still, they're supporting the players, the current players, is important to me. Your thoughts?
I mean, I love it. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm Jenkins, to me was similar to Brian Dawkins, so I think he deserves that. But I guess it's just, amazing that he's going into the Eagles Hall of Fame, because y'all do remember Malcolm Jenkins started with the Saints, and I think he did win a Super Bowl with the Saints. So for him to be, I mean, since he's left Philadelphia has been his heart. Sometimes when you're with the team prior that you've had history with and you win Super Bowls with, that's where you want to retire and be in the Hall of Fame. But he did not. He retired. I do believe he retired as an Eagle, and now he's going into the Philadelphia Hall of Fame. I would have liked for Michael Vick to go in there, but Michael Vick, I think, is retiring from the Falcons, which it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, big ups to Michael Jenkins. You know what I'm saying? He was a big part of that Super Bowl we won. Like I said, he was our Brian Dawkins number 2 when Brian Dawkins was shipped out and retired and everything else. So yeah, he deserved it.
Yeah, I definitely dig it. You mentioned Brian Dawkins as well. I don't think anybody would argue Brian Dawkins. If anything, if you hear Brian Dawkins is going to the Hall of Fame, you would say, why isn't he already in there? More so than anything else. Don't think we really need to go over the career of Brian Dawkins, but in case somebody doesn't know or doesn't remember, is too young to have seen those things, Brian Dawkins was a monster. They called him Weapon X because he was a Wolverine on the field. One of the nicest guys that everyone has ever met. And if you've seen interviews or anything about him, what do you say?
I said literally Weapon X, literally Wolverine.
Yeah, he's nice. Yeah, great guy off the field. Like off the field, one of the nicest guys you ever met. On the field, straight beast. And you need those guys. You needed that guy. You needed the heart of the defense. You could just see the transformation when he came out the tunnel. And it was great to see. And it didn't stop at the pregame. And went on into the game. Another guy, he didn't end his career in Philly because of what I would call the best way I can put it is poppycock. But what I would call some hogwash and some poppycock. That man did not retire only playing for the Eagles. But he did retire as an Eagle, and a lot of his accolades were as an Eagle. But he was on Denver for a couple of years. Now, if I remember correctly, I think he won a Super Bowl there.
He did.
So it kind of worked out for him because he got to go somewhere where he got to get that Super Bowl victory. It's a difference when you're saying former Eagles player and you're saying former Eagles player and Super Bowl champion. It may not be with the Eagles like Shady McCoy wasn't with the Eagles, but still guys that are synonymous with Philadelphia. And, winning the championship and retiring as Eagle. I still rock with it.
Well, I mean, he could have had one, but thanks to Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb, that didn't happen. So, but if you don't know who Brian Dawkins is, I suggest you go and do some research. And I suggest you understand the depth and what he meant to that Philadelphia Eagles defense under Jim Johnson. If you don't know who Jim Johnson is, I suggest that you go and research him as well. He was one of the best defensive coordinators probably in NFL history. He's up there with the top and was the best defensive coordinator for the Eagles. So, yeah.
There you have it. All right, Diva, any other news or updates?
Not that I might be missing something, but not that I can think of at this moment.
So Tom Brady 12 says this is our year.
What up, Tom Brady? A name like that, but what up?
That's an interesting name. That's an interesting name for sure. It's definitely an interesting name. So, just a little tad bit of what we have. Our next game is going to be against the Browns. So, Shedeur Sanders will make his second straight preseason start if Dylan Gabriel is unable to play. If Dylan Gabriel is able to play, he'll start, and then Sanders will only see, late game action.
Well, what I heard that since he got injured today, they're not gonna play him. That's what I heard earlier, unless things change.
I saw something about that, but unless it's something serious, they probably do have to play Shedeur because they. Or are you talking about Gabriel?
No, Shedeur, since he had that oblique injury.
They may have to play him because they don't have a lot of quarterbacks.
I mean, I get it, but
we'll see.
I mean, they still got Kenny Pickett. For now, they're talking about. I know they're talking about dealing him out, but I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I'm that whatever the Browns want to do. I mean, but if you do got an oblique injury, I wouldn't trust that. But hey, whatever y'all want to do.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't get a chance to look up recent Browns news, but
yeah, from the last time I heard, maybe like 2-3 hours ago, they said that they were going to rest him because I wouldn't either. But.
Tom Brady says Cowboys offered me a deal at 46. I retired.
Yeah, get that money.
Anytime the Cowboys offer you a deal, retiring is always a good idea. If that's the only place you can play, you might want to just go ahead and retire and save yourself. I mean, it's money, but you know what comes with it. All right, so let's go ahead and start with our first game review. The real preseason primer for the postseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. It was our regular season finale against the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And all I can say is it looked like this preseason game we just saw.
Literally, not figuratively, but literally.
Yeah. A lot of the stories didn't play. The big storyline for me going into that game was the fact that we didn't allow Saquon Barkley, our all-everything running back last year, to get the record. And I think it's laughable that Eric Dickerson was on there whining and bemoaning, talking about Saquon had an extra game. Sir, when O.J. Simpson made the record, he had 14. You broke it with 16. So, again, as I always say, I am not a mathematician by trade. I talk sports and do other things. But none of that is mathematician by trade. But one thing I think I do know is that 16 is greater than 14. So it's very hypocritical for you to break the record and complain when someone might break your record with the extra game, or you had 2 extra games to break the record. But far be it from me to, not allow a hypocrite to slide on undetected and nobody call him out.
Back.
We got a good chance this year our backups play. We got a chance to see a lot of guys get their opportunity and become ready to play in the in the playoffs, as far as backups and things of that nature. This game we saw a lot of Oren Burks. We know that ended up being a good thing, because of what happened later on. That we'll get to it, when we get to. But we had injuries and things of that nature, and it's concerning. It's 100% concerning, and the reason that it's concerning, is we need guys that be healthy. So we have some guys that we'll talk about the depth chart thing as well, with some issues with injuries, but allowing everyone a lot of the 2s and 3s to get some burn at the end of the regular season, still pick up a win. Because the thing I want to say is, I love the fact that we were able to get our backups in and still get a win. It wasn't anything that affected like our positioning in the playoffs or our starters would have played at least part of the game. But a win is still a win, especially a divisional win. Because if you look back, now that we're at week 17, we can kind of look back and say, oh, we only lost one game in the division this year. And that game, of course, was to the Commanders.
By default.
That's the only divisional game we lost, and that was 33-36. Mm-hmm. We spanked the Cowboys 41-7 last week, and then we get a solid 2013 win, against the Giants. McKee, this is one of those games I talked about. We just talked about what we did the preseason. 27-41, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Right? He was going against Drew Lock. He only had 138 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rushing, they had Tyrone Tracy was their leading rusher, 14 for 59. Ours was Will Shipley with 10 for 32. Leading receiver, and hey, this is kind of wild. Malik Neighbors was 5 of 64 for a touchdown. Jahan Dotson, 7 for 94 yards. So it says something about, it looks like he got more time playing with Tanner McKee, so he felt more comfortable catching the ball from McKee. Gainwell had 11 carries for 14 yards. But yeah, Dotson was the big play guy. Nia Smith had 4 for 35 and a touchdown. And then E.J. Jenkins had 1 for 1 catch. It was for 7 yards, but it was for a touchdown. So, ball got around. Oren Burks was a top tackler. Just talked about him. 8 tackles, 9 assisted. Ringo had 3 tackles and 1 assisted tackle. Davis had 3, 2 assisted. Trotter had 2 and 9 assisted tackles. McCollum had 2 and 7 assisted tackles. Ojomo had 1 and 4 assists. Maddox had 1 and 3 assisted tackles. Rogers had 1 and 1. Charles Harris had 1 and then 2 assists. And then we had Ricks and Gant. They both had 1 and a couple of people with assisted tackles. And then Brown had the interception on their quarterback as well. For me,
had an interception.
Yeah, interception is important. You don't want to tackle nobody anyway because you get hurt easy.
Right.
But all jokes aside, though, this is a joke. We do want you tackling. Just be careful when you tackle. But it got a chance for some other guys to get minutes. Shipley looked a lot better than Gainwell. Nobody looked great on the ground, but he looked better than Gainwell. And McKee played the whole game. Had a solid game. Missed some plays, but again, a backup. And that's an expectation for your backup. So, solid win's a solid win. I'll take any win the Philadelphia Eagles can get. But it was good again. 5-1 in the division.
Mm-hmm.
Love to repeat that in 2025.
Fact.
Your thoughts on the game, Diva?
I mean, it really ain't want no thoughts. That was just a win was a win. We went in there and got it done. We let AJ and all our AJ. I think we still set Jalen, of course, so we can get him ready for that.
Hey, we said all the starters on offense. We ain't let no offensive starters play.
Yeah, we ain't let none of them play. So I mean, it was just a solid win with all your backups. I mean, you always need solid backups to come in and do their thing, and that's what we did. So really ain't too much to talk about. That was the last game of the season before we got to the postseason.
Very true, very true. So we're gonna get into some off-season discussions. Before we do, let's take a quick commercial break. We're gonna come back and get into the off-season discussions.
Cool McCain.
You thought you wanted Gunther against Chad Gable, but you didn't. And I'm going to tell you why. Chad Gable would take everything that Gunther's done and bury it.
The Playmaker.
It was on site. AJ Styles walked out there, seen LA Knight. Oh, okay. Then LA Knight hopped out the car. Let's go.
Break down everything in TNA, AEW, and all of the WWE programming. Join these two kings, monarchs of wrestling, live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on the Play Caller Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids from the Block, New Edition,
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
All right, good people. We back in the building. So it's time for some off-season discussions. So we'll start with looking at the depth chart. For the Eagles, make sure I got it updated. And of course, we always like to use our lads here. They're normally pretty on point with even the depth charts on the Eagles website. Sometimes they get updated even a little bit quicker, I've seen. So yeah, just for consistency, we'll just use this. So there have been a few changes. So now we'll start at wide receiver. A.J. Brown, Jahan Dotson, and Devontae Smith are in the starters. But now your backups are Darius Cooper, who had a really great performance in the first preseason game, Johnny Wilson, and Anaya Smith. Now, keep in mind, last time we talked, I remember Darius Cooper was on the third string.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been replaced on the third string with Terrence Marshall, Avery Williams, and Elijah Cooks still there. I expect the team to keep 6, possibly 7 receivers, depending on how it moves with guys maybe being kick returners too. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out as far as how many we keep. But Darius Cooper, and I mean, he looked that kid looked like he was ready to go. Like I saw him making plays. He looked like he belonged on the NFL field. And the thing is, we do talk about, hey, it's preseason, but when it's a guy who hasn't played in the regular season before and he's looking good in the preseason, then you're like, okay, at least he looks like he could be a part of the team. A lot of times we get a little bit too excited about guys who have played before, right? If you've been on an NFL roster, you've been in the league, then what you do in the preseason doesn't – I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but what I'll say is we kind of already know what we've seen with you from the regular season. But for guys who haven't, this is all we have to gauge it by so far. And this is why you have the preseason, so you can get some of these guys that say, hey, I know he's been in the league before. I'm new here, but this is what you get if you rock with me. So that's what we have. All right. Any thoughts, Diva?
No, I mean, I am glad to see that the young boy is putting in work. I'm definitely glad to see that Johnny Wilson has worked on his hands and is catching the ball. Hope that actually goes over into the regular season. Because I mean, even sometime Johnny Wilson can probably be used as a tight end. You know what I'm saying? He could probably play dual positions as well. Just in case we need a backup tight end, just in case Dallas Goddard gets hurt. But yeah, I'm glad John Dodson finally got on the roster and secured his spot. I know you've been putting in work from what I've heard. So yeah, I mean, you need those backups because I felt like that's the reason why, Smitty had hamstring injuries, AJ, because we played them so much, so many snaps last year. And, sometimes they need to rest. Sometimes, you just don't need to play them as much. Like we kept playing no play Slay. And in the first quarter, that mug was on the sideline talking about he was hurt. Talking about some. So, yeah, I mean, you got to be able to switch players out, and the better depth that you have, that that your wide receivers can catch the ball, is a good thing. So I'm glad that we have secured that. That's important.
I just want to make sure that these guys that are moving around, that they understand you're there now, but that doesn't mean that you stay there.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's still only 1 week of the preseason. We want to see you do it every week. The team wants to see you do it every week. Coaches want to see you do it every week. So it's good that you're doing it right now, but can you continue to do it? And that's going to be the thing, because now people are going to be looking at Darius Cooper and saying, okay, he's a guy to look out for, right? Cleveland's going to be doing that when we play them. Who we play in the third week, because I haven't looked that far yet. They're going to be doing the same thing. Teams are going to be looking and saying, he's a guy that you got to watch when he's on the field. And that's kind of different when you kind of come from free agent signing, undrafted free agent signing, and you come onto the team. You get that first time, you can show pretty well. Now, can you do it when you're being watched, when people are focusing on you? So we do need Cooper, Wilson, Smith, Marshall, Avery Williams, Elijah, because all those guys, to play well. Down the very far back end, after the guys I just mentioned, we have Ife Adayi, Taylor Morin, and Giles Jackson. I think those guys that will only either make the practice squad or be completely cut. You do have to have some camp bodies. It does happen. All right, so then on offensive line, got Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, even though he's injured right now, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, and Lane Johnson. As of today, behind him, Kendall Lamb would be behind Mailata. Brett Toth would be the starter for Landon Dickerson. Drew Kendall would be the backup for Cam Jurgens. Darius Kennard, the backup for Tyler Steen, and Matt Pryor is the backup for Lane Johnson. Personally, I think Pryor has the ability to play multiple positions, but maybe right now they feel like just playing Toth since he's the backup is the way to go. We'll see how that ends up playing out. Third string, left tackle Miles Hinton, left guard, also injured Kenyon Green. Behind him, Lakin Vakalahi. Yeah, Kenyon Green is out injured. Third string center is Trevor Keegan, 5th round pick last year. Third string right guard is Holland Pierce, free agent signing. Right tackle is Cameron Williams, 6th round pick. And then tight end, third. Well, we ain't got there yet. Got a little bit ahead of myself. So, right now we only got one of our left guards, and I guess that's why Lakin Vakalahi is there, and he probably will see some time in this game because Landon Dickerson and Kenyon Green are both injured.
When did he get injured?
I don't know if it has a date of the injury, but
well, we know you played the preseason game because remember I sent you, which I was surprised. First preseason game, they said
I think he got hurt. He probably got hurt.
Was it preseason, or was it during practice?
He had to have gotten hurt in the game or during practice, one or the other. I'm not sure, but he is injured. Not surprised. I mean, I haven't been impressed with Ken Green since we brought him in. Maybe it'll take us some time, but he just hasn't impressed me. Any thoughts, ma'am?
No, not really. I mean, I did send you the stats that he had against the first preseason game, so I was like, oh well, maybe Stellan University is working, but I mean, dude has been hurt half of practice, so I mean, I don't know.
Let me see if it's got any updates here real quick.
I'm trying to see if I can find anything.
Not
'Cause I didn't even see that.
He is showing as injured. Yeah, they just
No,
have
it's,
this listed as
so he
injured.
likely out for the rest of the preseason.
I did see something about that, but I don't know when it happened. Was my big thing. I'm not sure like how he got injured, but yeah. And being out the rest of the preseason, like him, Vakahali might take your spot.
Probably.
We'll see how it goes. He's got to get in there and perform. He's got to perform. If he don't perform, he won't either. Tight end. First one is Dallas Goedert. His backup is Grant Calcaterra. Third string right now is Colin Granson. He was one of the guys that we signed, the one from Indianapolis. And Harrison Bryant is fourth. Nick Muse is our fifth string tight end. E.J. Jenkins, who was there last year, is our fifth string tight end. And then Cameron Latu is our sixth string tight end. So we got a lot of tight ends. Obviously, we're probably going to keep no more than 2 to 3 of those guys. But Jenkins did play well, I thought, when he got opportunities last year. But if these other guys are looking better, then you got to do what you got to do.
Right. Yeah. Well, as long as I got somebody to back up Grant Calcaterra. I mean, I love Dallas Goedert, but my boy is guaranteed to be hurt sometime during the season. So as long as you got somebody to, I mean, if need be, like I said, I'm sure we could use, Wilson. I mean, if you're smart enough, why not? But hey,
I wouldn't like putting Wilson at tight end because I don't feel like he can block, even though he's big. So when you put him in, you're basically saying we're throwing the ball.
Hell, sometimes Dallas Goedert don't block either.
Now, sometimes he don't, but Wilson didn't block in college. He didn't block last year. So he didn't even have a history, to me, of being much of a blocker. So you kind of guarantee. But, I mean, maybe he's been working on it. I'm sure they try to get his hands right as a wide receiver. It doesn't seem like he, at this point, has grasped wide receiver all the way and everything for that. Quarterback. Got Jalen Hurts. Of course, our starter, Tanner McKee, looks to be the backup. This keeps going back and forth. This week, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is third, and Kyle McCord is fourth on the depth chart. Last week, it was reverse. That may be the battle for who's going to be the emergency quarterback. I am kind of shocked by that. Nothing against Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but I feel like you drafted Kyle McCord. Yeah, you did trades for Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but that was always going to be questionable if he could make the team, I feel like. But we'll see how that shakes up. But, yeah, it's like a little battle there at the end for that emergency quarterback who might stay on the active roster.
I see. Yeah. Like 2 days ago, I seen where, he might be on the trading block, but I guess he said he's trying to make a statement. So, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really heard too much about him in practice. All I really hear is, Tanner McKee and, of course, Jalen Hurts. So, I don't really know, but
and it could be really saying we're going to put you as 3 so that we can make you look better to give you a higher trade value.
There could be a possibility. I mean, that would be smart.
That's a Howie thing. I would do something like that. But right now, just look at it as a straight battle, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson at least has the lead right now. That's what I'm going to put out in the universe. I got you, Howie. Running back, of course, Saquon Barkley. So, another interesting development. Right now, Will Shipley is the backup. A.J. Dillon is the third back. Shanderick Powell, fourth. Montrell Johnson, fifth. And then Keelan Robinson is our sixth string running back. And I'll just go ahead and throw Ben Van Summer in there as our only fullback as well.
I'm actually shocked, but I think by the time preseason ends, I think it'll be Saquon, Dillon, and then Shipley. I mean,
Shipley's been running hard.
I mean, listen, I have been a huge Will Shipley fan since my man was in Clemson. I was elated that we drafted him because I watched him bulldoze through most of the defenses in college. You know what I'm saying? But I do like the effect of having a downhill and uphill runner. I like, having a running back that has bowling ball with feet. It kind of remind me of LeGarrette Blount and Ajayi Ajayi. Like, you know what I'm saying? We had one smaller one and one big one that could just bulldoze in certain situations. I do like that. But we'll see. I mean, I love some Will Shipley. I mean, but if it was me, I would find ways to use all three of my running backs in different situations because that means they're not. If you use all three of your running backs, that means teams can't plan accordingly against the run game because they don't know who you're going to use. That would be me, my scheme. But I don't get paid the big bucks. So.
I mean, I don't feel like anybody really can stop Saquon except for injury. Like if he doesn't get hurt, I don't feel like anybody really can stop him. But I do think they're going to do a better job of using the other backs this season. I think 2 and 3 to me is interesting to see who they value a little bit more, who they think is going to get carries with Saquon's not getting carries. But I think we know that they're going to keep 3 running backs at least. And we know who those 3 are going to be. It's just a matter of who's going to be the guy that says, nah, I'm second. Nah, I'm second. Nah, I'm second. And that's what I like to see kind of from what we have going on is just getting that opportunity for everybody. And then getting a chance. I like that. Van Summer is definitely going to make the team. He's definitely going to be used. It's going to be another body to push in the tush push. Just since y'all want to try to ban it, I think we're going to make it
stay healthy. Because Van Summer
more difficult.
Does not stay healthy.
So
we just hope he can stay healthy because he does not stay healthy.
Maybe in a different role he will.
I hope so.
Maybe at fullback, because I mean he's not going to be used every play at fullback. So hopefully, getting used when he does at fullback will, help because it'll be more of a sparing role, and he won't have to tackle anybody.
Well, I think on the play that he got hurt, he was being used as a fullback last year.
No, I'm just saying he won't have to tackle anybody, so maybe he won't be hurt.
Yeah.
We want him to be healthy. Doesn't really do much for us if he's not healthy as far as being our only fullback. That changes the dynamics that we can use if he's not healthy, since we don't have anybody else who's like on the roster that we want to use at fullback. So hopefully he stays healthy. If he doesn't, he won't be the only person on the team I'm concerned about being healthy. By far.
Right.
Go ahead and move to defense. Moro Jomo, starting defensive end. Byron Young is his backup, and then Jacob Seitz is the third. Nose tackle, Jordan Davis. Then we got Ty Robinson as his backup, and then Justin Robbins as his backup, Rogers. Robinson is a 4th-round pick from this year. Defensive tackle, Jalen Carter, then Gabe Hall, and then Joe Evans. Of course, Thomas Booker was in this mix, but he was traded. So, once you're gone, you're gone. It's not really much you're going to do for us gone, but I think this is a good group. It's some depth. It's some unproven guys. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest concern I feel like is unproven because we need these guys to be able to be what we want them to be, but they're unproven at this point.
Yes, and we definitely need for them, when Jalen needs to come out for a break or, if he, get injured, because I know he's having some shoulder injuries, during preseason. We need for these boys to be able to come in and play that position and play it well. Like, that's my concern is if your main starter has to go out for a breather or gets hurt for a short period of time, like, are you going to be that guy that steps up, next man up? Are you going to be able to play that position? The way we need you to play it, the way that Vic needs you for you to play it. That's what's important. Which I trust that Vic will get those guys together. I mean, it is Vic Fangio, and he's going to push you to your limit. So, hopefully they are soaking everything in and ready when that time comes.
Well, I just say, Jalen Carter misses time, the line changes. Gabe Hall or Joe Evans is not Jalen Carter. So
Yeah.
if he does miss time because of injury, and I don't mind if we don't see him much in the preseason just to help him get right, but we need Jalen Carter on that line for sure.
Yeah, we need Rhino on that line.
Injuries happen as part of the game, but we need him to play and play well. All right, we'll go to outside linebacker, which is really edge rusher / outside linebacker for us in the 3-4. So on the left side, we got Nolan Smith Jr. Behind him, Azeez Ojulari, we picked up from the Giants. Behind him, Patrick Johnson. And behind him, Ogbo Onkrankawo. And that's probably butchered, but that's the best I could do. Right outside linebacker, Jalix Hunt is the starter. Josh Uche is his backup. Came over from Kansas City. Can't beat him, join him. I like it. Antoine Powell Ryland Jr., one of our 6th-round picks this year, is the 3rd stringer. And then behind him is Ochan Mathis is the 4th stringer. I feel like most we're going to keep probably 5, maybe 6 outside linebackers if it's someone who can play inside too.
Right.
So we'll see how that pans out. But I think the top 4 are in there. Just a matter of who's going to be that 5th and if we keep a 6 to 6. So we'll see, again, how those things pan out. DV, your thoughts on outside linebacker?
I feel like we're pretty solid on the outside linebacker. I'm feeling confident about the backups to Nolan and Jalix Hunt. So, I mean, I've been hearing really good news about Ojulari. He's coming along pretty well. So, yeah.
I feel it. I definitely feel it. All right, so we'll go to our inside linebackers, our Will and our Mike linebackers. At Will linebacker, we start the starter, same as last year, Zach Bond. Behind him, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., 5th-round pick last year. And 3rd string, Dallas Gant. And then on the other side, which I kind of think is interesting how this has played out so far. We got Nakobe Dean, of course, injured. Jahad Campbell, who's been getting a lot of the grief with what happened with the injury with Landon Dickerson. Our 1st-round pick this year, who is probably going to be the starter to start the season, which will open up another spot at linebacker. And then Smael Mondon, our 5th-round pick, has also played well. It looks to be the primary backup in Mike linebacker. And then the 4th string, who until Dean's back will be 3rd, is Lance Dixon. So we've got him there as well. So some good, some depth pieces, some guys to see how they play, some different things to do there. Thoughts on the inside linebackers?
Pretty satisfied. Being that we do have Nakobe Dean out and don't know when he'll come back. Hopefully he'll be back this year or sometime during the season. But I'm satisfied with the linebackers. They'll be all right. Be just fine.
All right, and let's go corners and safeties. So Keely Ringo, right now, is a starter left cornerback. Adoree Jackson is the backup. Perry Nickerson is 3rd string. And Castro Fields is the 4th stringer, Tariq. At right cornerback, Quinyon Mitchell is a starter. Jacorian Bennett, the guy we traded for the Raiders, is his backup right now. and Eli Ricks is third string. At nickel, Cooper DeJean is the starter. Another one of our fifth round picks this year. Mac Williams is the backup. AJ Woods is the third, and Brandon Johnson is fourth string. And then at safety, so we just do the whole secondary. Sidney Brown is the starter. Andrew Makuba is the backup. Andre Sam is third string. And then at free safety, of course, Reed Blankenship is your starter. Tristan McCollum is the backup. And Lewis Sign is the third free safety. I know you got some thoughts on that on the secondary, Diva. What you got for us?
We're just gonna see. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're gonna see. That's what I'm gonna say about that second string. We gonna see. And you know, it might change. I know today, the first team defense lining up was Adoree Jackson, Sidney Brown, and Zach Bond. So I don't know. I mean, we shall see. But I know Jacorian. I think Jacorian, unless Adoree Jackson outplays Ringo, which you know I was hearing a lot of chatter about Ringo when we played the Brown. I mean, not the Browns, but when we played Cincinnati. I mean, you got to get a boy a chance. You know, we'll see how he looked this week, but I mean, you are up against Jamar Chase, and you know what I'm saying. So that's one of the best of the best. He did get burnt a few times, but we shall see. Dorian Jackson got burnt too, but so we'll see how that matchup plays out because that's still a battle of the beast. Sidney Brown, I'm still worried. I'm always gonna be worried about Sidney Brown. You know, he did go out and was under the tent for a little bit in that Bengals game, and I was like, oh Lord, here we go. But Sidney Brown, for me, still needs to work on the way that his brain process and his footwork. Like it's like his feet are faster than what his brain is trying to process. And I think once he get those two on accord, besides the injuries, I think Sidney will be all right. You know, he's a very hard hitting player, as you can see, but he's just got to work on that footwork and the process of his brain processing at the same time. So yeah. And I'm hearing Eli Ricks is trying to make his spot. You know, I liked Eli Ricks his first year, and then year two, he really didn't get no gameplay because, of course, you know, for year two, you know, CJ came back and, you know, Darius Slay was out there. So hopefully, you know, maybe we might see Eli Ricks make the roster and be up in there. So we'll see.
Yeah. Strong safety, keep an eye on. Sidney Brown has got to have a good backup. Right now it's Andrew Makuba, second round pick. Probably going to need McCollum or someone else to also be able to play strong safety if needed. Just concerned. Injuries, you know, the mix of injuries, rookies and other new guys getting acclimated to the team. And some veteran guys or guys that have been around for a year or two just not being able to kind of seize opportunities completely. Kind of makes you look and say, all right, I see why we made the trade for Jacorian Bennett. I think he's a guy that once he learns that system, those left corners are going to be feeling a little heat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only question is, do you feel confident with Eli Ricks being the backup if you try to move Jacorian Bennett, or do you feel you can move Bennett and maybe move somebody else back to where he's at if you don't feel good about Eli Ricks? But I think Bennett is the guy to watch in this whole entire group for me.
I think possibly you could move somebody else behind Bennett. I mean, like I said, that's how I feel. But from what everybody kept saying that Howie and them had faith in Eli Ricks and Keely Ringo. So until they prove it to me, I mean, I think you could probably move somebody else behind on the other side of Ja'Cory. So it's just who is that going to be? Would that be Coop? Like, who would that be?
Well, you don't want to take. I mean, let's be honest. If you take Cooper DeJean out of the slot is not good anymore. Let's be 100% honest. If you're moving him from the slot, our slot is back to being garbage. We're going to be picked on the slot. We're going to have a big hole in the donut hole in the middle again. So you got to kind of leave him in the slot. So you'd have to take someone from the right side and move them to the left if you're going to make the move with Bennett. We'll see if that actually happens. I mean, if he ends up just being a backup to Quinyon Mitchell, it's not a big loss. You know, we weren't going to be able to pay Booker when time came to pay him. So you got to try to make some moves and see if you can get some other assets. If you know you can't pay everybody. You just can't.
Right.
And we've been doing such a good job of drafting, and now we're at that point where it's like, oh, dang, can't pay all these dudes. We got to try to get some assets back for some of these guys. Lil G's in the building. He says he's a big fan of Eagles season. Better kick Cowboys' butts. He also says he's going to be an uncle. It's a boy. Congratulations. And his cousin's birthday is on August 28th. Happy birthday, Lil G Griffith's cousin. And then Benny Boom in the building. Benny Boom.
Benny? What up,
from
fam?
Benny Boom Productions. A dude that gets us a lot of the fly caps we wear. That's not our new average, of course, but yeah, Benny Boom be looking out for the squad and he be selling. So y'all make sure y'all tapping in with Benny Boom. Got some good products for y'all. He says, don't worry, that defense is going to be ready for the season. Smith and Hunt will rise to the occasion and linebackers will be the cleanup. Yeah, I'm just a little bit worried about, for me, safety and depth.
Yeah.
Because starters is like, yeah, but now some of the guys that were depth last year were saying you be a starter. And now we're looking at other guys saying either we brought in or that we've drafted and saying, can you step up and not have a big drop off and play when you're in the game? That's it. That's just a matter of seeing them play. If they do what they're supposed to do, we'll be sitting up here smiling and happy. If not, we'll be looking like.
So who would back up Reed? Because you know Reed has been injured. I mean, he didn't really get injured last year, but he's had his bout. So who would back up Reed if he went out?
If Blankenship doesn't play, Tristan McCollins is his backup. So the thing is, you've got Blankenship and Brown are both, I'd say more so Brown guys that you're concerned with maybe injuries. Makuba is the backup strong safety. Maybe he's a guy that you can also make sure he knows how to play free safety so he can play either one of those if needed. McCollum, I mean, he was fine. He's a guy that, I mean, he's a backup. You know, he's not a guy that's going to take the Blankenship spot. Yeah, Tristan McCollum. He's a good backup.
I mean, he came and he played all right. I mean, he played a few games last year when I think somebody went out and he came in for him. He played all right.
He's a backup. But yeah, definitely somebody I look at and say, we all right. I mean, we got. It's not necessarily that we don't have depth; it's that a lot of it, as far as our system goes, is improving. So that's why I said, we just got to see how it rolls.
I mean, I guess if push come to shove, and say we get an injury before the trade deadline, I guess how we would make a trade.
And don't get froggy. What's going on, man? Don't get froggy says how we might bring in some secondary help if this next preseason game doesn't go well. I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that because at the end of the day, we know we're in championship or bust mode right now, right? And it can't be a couple of guys that maybe we were hoping we're going to play better that don't. You know, the reason that we don't get where we want to go. So if we got to make moves, you got to make moves. It is what it is. I had to put it that bluntly, but it's like people always say, it's a business. I mean, this is not a. I don't like that person. I don't like that person. This is business. Yeah.
It's all about trying to win another championship, and you got to do what you got to do. Okay, Benny.
Most definitely. Most definitely. All right, so we're gonna do some
Benny, I need that big green shirt, my dude, that I seen you put up the other day. I needs one of them in my life.
Benny said he's in South Carolina enjoying the beach life, having a good time with your grandkids. That's what's up, Benny. You ain't that far from us right now.
Well, you came down south, didn't you? You skipped all the beach, skipped Virginia Beach.
He probably went to Myrtle Beach. Everybody like to go to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah,
Don't get froggy.
like
I ain't worried about it. We finally have stability at defensive coordinator. That's true. That's true. And they'll find the right pieces. They definitely have, they'll find the right pieces. So as long as we got that, we easy like Sunday morning. We cool in the other side of the pillow, like my man Stuart Scott used to say. So we'll be good on that. So we're gonna talk about the power rankings next week. We're just gonna bump to the next week. We'll talk about the way too early power rankings next week, and we're gonna go ahead and go through the next guys on the top 100. All right, so we ended off last week at 45 with Trent Williams, just because, of course, that's how the NFL been doing by midweek. They only give you like half of the top 10. So at 44, we got Mike Evans from the Tampa Bay Bucks, wide receiver. He played in 14 games, 110 receptions, 1,004 receiving yards, 13.6 yards per reception, 11 receiving touchdowns. Mike Evans had a 1,000+ yard season in what? I think every year he's been in the league all 11 years.
Yeah.
That's consistency and that's impressiveness. I mean, you can say what you want about him, but the dude plays football. The dude makes plays. He's another guy that has hamstring issues. You get concerned when a guy consistently has long hamstring issues that keeps you out 2, 3, 4 weeks. But hey, when he plays, as you can tell, he gets the job done. Anything you want to add, dude?
Yeah. I mean, Mike Evans, he's really nothing to add to that. I mean, Mike Evans has always been a beast since he came in. Very hard to stop. So, I wouldn't expect no less for him to be in the top 100.
And he's down 18 spots from last year. All right, so at number 43, we got a new entry. I'm going to lead this one, All the Diva. This is at number 43, making his first appearance, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle, Philadelphia Eagles, 16 games, 42 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles.
Listen, this is the next defensive player of the year. I am not surprised that that is what Eagle number 4. Yes, Eagle number 4 on the top 100, and I'm sure there's more to come. But Jalen Carter was absolutely dominant this year. Last season, last year, he was absolutely dominant. For him to come in and really not know what he's doing, we didn't know. We thought the boy knew what he was doing. And imagine, which I think this will be his year, that he finally understands the game and understands how to read the offense and really get into his element. He's going to be higher next year. So look for Jalen to be higher next year. My boy is well-deserved. He worked really hard. But, I'm not surprised. He did the same thing in Georgia. But now was able to transfer that to the NFL and was just an absolute monster for us, including all the times that my boy was double-teamed and it was never called. He still made good stats. So, yes. Big ups to my boy, Jalen.
Fly, Eagles, fly. That's all I'm going to add to it. All right, number 42, up 54 spots from last year. Buffalo Bills offensive tackle Deion Dawkins. He played 16 games, 959 snaps, 22 QB pressures allowed, 3 sacks allowed per Pro Football Focus. He had his 4th consecutive Pro Bowl last year. He's a big part of why Josh Allen and the run game were very good last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he played well for the Bills. So big ups to him.
Yeah, well deserved. He was a big reason why their run game was good. I think eventually the rest of the team kind of fell off at the end of the year, but he was still putting up numbers, so big ups to him.
And at number 41, down 8 spots, Puka Nacua, wide receiver, Los Angeles Rams, 11 games, 79 receptions, 990 receiving yards, 12.5 yards per reception, 3 receiving touchdowns. My boy got 990 receiving yards. You know how mad I would be? I'm like, bruh, we couldn't get me 10 more yards. Come on.
Right.
But he did miss some games, so there's that. Cooper Kupp's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Puka's going to be the number 1 receiver this year, so they're going to need him to be healthy. I think he's slotted about right with the injuries and missing games, not quite reached 1,000 yards. I think he's slotted right for this year. But he's got a chance to make a jump as being the true number 1 next year. We'll see how he does.
He sure does. I mean, without Cooper Kupp being there, he was basically getting all the receptions last year anyway, because Cooper Kupp been in the game for a minute, you know what I'm saying? So he's starting to fall off a little bit, which is expected, But now he's gone, and so he's gonna be slated number 1 receiver. So his stats probably should be a little bit higher as long as Matthew Stafford can stay healthy and get him the ball. Because if not, then I don't know.
Yeah, the Stafford's boy is gonna be rough.
Stafford OG now. You hear what I'm talking about? That bugger OG.
Having back problems, and then you start getting hit in NFL. Your back keep getting jarred. Right now.
But Matthew Stafford been in the game for what, 10 years now? So
over 10.
My point. So it's expected.
Yeah, he was Kelvin Johnson's quarterback.
And then happened at Detroit, getting toe up in Detroit.
Yeah, you remember he was Kelvin Johnson's quarterback for a lot of them years. So he's been around a minute. Yeah. But that back start giving you problems. I can tell you from experience, that back start giving you problems, but you can bend the wrong way and hurt something. So getting that back jar, getting hit all game, that ain't gonna be comfortable at all. But moving on to 40, Roquan Smith down 21 spots from last year. Baltimore Ravens linebacker, 16 games, 154 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. All I can really say about Roquan Smith is he's a dog. He's an all-pro. He has over 100 tackles. A lot of years. He had way more tackles than most of his other Raven players. He's just a run stopper. If the ball gets to him through a pass, he's a pass stuffer. He's just a versatile player. He does everything that you want somebody to do from the linebacker position. I get people dropped because of what other people are doing and how they match up against their own stats from previous years and who else is coming up and all that. But Roquan Smith definitely deserves to be on this list and definitely deserves to be, at 40, if not higher.
I agree.
Number 39, CJ Stroud, down 19 points. 17 games played, 63.2 completion percentage, 3,727 passing yards, 7 yards per attempt, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 233 rushing yards, 6 fumbles. So he had the sophomore slump that everybody kind of has. But you also have to remember, he was missing his number 1 receiver. Stephon Diggs got hurt. Another receiver got hurt. So they were down their two of their top 3 receivers for a good portion of the season. You had film on him, so you had an opportunity to kind of know some of the things you do and try to put him in more uncomfortable situations. People can say, oh, the sophomore slump, and you have to look beyond the numbers and blah, blah, blah. No, the sophomore slump is a real thing. A lot of people go through it. There's nothing wrong with going through the sophomore slump. What that means is that the team you were on was, I'll say you were so good that you were the best option at quarterback from the beginning, from the jump. Meaning that you got the chance to kind of take the league by storm. Yeah, people can make in-season changes, but it's hard to really sit down, digest film on a player, and really understand a lot of the nuances and things he wants to do during the season because you got a new game every week. You got a new quarterback every week. But now that all seasons happened, after the second year, I think we're going to see a better version of CJ Stroud. And I think he's going to continue to ascend. But I will say when we talk about rankings and QBs, I think he's been ranked like he's already been an all-pro, like he's already been a MVP in those things. I think it's a little too early for that. But, anybody but Jalen Hurts. So, of course, You got to find somebody else. Anybody but Jalen Hurts. Then you want to add Diva?
I mean, you also got to add his line. His line was garbage this year. Like it was really weak. You know what I'm saying? So I think that added in. But yeah, he did have the sophomore slump for sure.
Yeah, his line was 29th ranked, so it wasn't good.
Mm-mm.
All right, and then at 38, making his first appearance, Nick Bonito, linebacker for the Denver Broncos, played in 17 games, 48 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 13 and a half sacks, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 touchdowns. He got to play because Baron Browning got hurt in week 2. And he just was like, "No, I'm playing. I'm an edge rusher. You're not getting this job back." Didn't give it back. And he was very consistent. 11 games with at least 1 sack. So he played very consistently throughout the league, and that was the most in the NFL this season. So Nick Bonito played very well for the Denver Broncos and was one of the reasons why that team was able to secure themselves a playoff berth.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, a couple more to go here, y'all. We're going to get to the last two. It's going to be a little enjoyable for me. Number 37, Travis Kelce, Kansas City Chiefs tight end. He played in 16 games, 97 receptions, only had 823 yards, 8.5 yards per reception, 3 touchdowns. And it's fair to frame this. If you're looking at Travis Kelce versus other tight ends, then it's like, okay, not that bad of a year. But Travis Kelce versus legacy Travis Kelce, this was definitely a bad year.
I think he should have been lower. I mean, because this was not a good year for him. I know he was dealing with some injuries, low key. But I think he should have been a little bit lower because Travis Kelce was not the Travis Kelce he's getting older too. I mean, I know he contemplated about retiring. I mean, he is getting older as well. But yeah, I
did
think
drop
he
in 28 spots. I did forget to mention that. It did drop in 28 spots. That's a big drop.
I mean, it is, but you should drop a little bit more because you really want that good. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, in my opinion, I guess the players felt differently. They were giving him a little grace.
Yeah, a little bit of that legacy love, I say. So I'm going to go into the next two together. Number 36, Michael Parsons, Cowboys linebacker, down 19 spots. And number 35, down 22 spots, CeeDee Lamb, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver. Let's get their stats. For Parsons, 13 games, 43 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. For CeeDee Lamb, 15 games, 101 receptions, 1,194 receiving yards, 11.8 yards per reception, 6 touchdowns. I give Lamb props because he still had a very good line, statistical line in 15 games with Dak Prescott getting hurt in week 9 and, having to play with Cooper Rush for the rest of the season. And he's just not the same type of player. He had 48 receptions for 534, 2 touchdowns in games without his QB. 53 for 660 and 4 touchdowns with him. So a little bit better with him. He had another season with 100 receptions. I think he's the first Cowboy to have more than one. Because Michael Irvin had one, and then Jason Witten had one. And then for Parsons, we know what Parsons is. I can talk about stats all day. He had a high ankle sprain, which a lot of people say is the reason why he fell down. But I felt like people have kind of figured out how to play him now too. And it's going to take wherever he's at, it's going to take some change in how he's used a little bit. Not necessarily a complete overhaul, but maybe a little adaptation as to how you use him, since people are kind of figuring out how to play him now based on teams that have been able to have success.
Yeah.
Playing for Dallas will drop you down.
Yeah, definitely. And then not having Dak in there, that definitely dropped you down. But he was hurt for a little while. And people have learned how to play him. Look, he's been playing the same system for however many years he's been in the league. So it seems like they don't switch up how they use him, that's the defensive coordinator's fault. So yeah, I think people have learned how to play Michael Parsons and understand his weaknesses in the game, and they played on it.
Yep. So Benny says, I'll let my worker know to make one for you. Hey, Benny.
Hey Benny, you got it in long sleeve too? 'Cause it's about to get cold. Cause it's got the big bubble. It's the big bubble letters. Say I bleed green. So I want it's that. My friend, I need that.
I'll let you, Benny. I'll let you. Don't Get Froggy says Carter might get 10 sacks this year plus 1 interception on a spike ball, possibly. Hey,
He possibly have more than 10. I give him
like
more than 10 sacks, honestly.
Yeah. 17 games, he can get a sack a game. I'd like for him to have about at least 15, maybe.
You know what I'm talking about?
I'll take 10 because he will get double team pressure, but the more the merrier.
Yeah, he will get double teamed for sure, if not triple teamed.
And when he getting doubled, that's when Jordan Davis and Mora Jomo got to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's your next group of guys. We'll give you 34 through 25 next week. Hopefully, well, not hopefully. I know we'll be seeing some more Eagles in these top picks. So just get ready. It's going to be more Eagles. It's going to be more Eagles. Yep. It's going to be more players from other teams as well. But we're doing this because we know there's a lot of Eagles there, and this is Eagles week. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to end, of course, with our fun topic. Because we're getting there, y'all. Y'all realize how far we've come as far as talking about the games. We already are at the dad blame postseason. Wildcard weekend. That's where we at. And of course, that game was against the Packers. Diva, I'm gonna let you go ahead and go first and hit this one up.
Man, it ain't really too much to talk about that game either. I mean, Eagles came in and did what they had to do. Jalen Hurts was back that game. I don't even got the stats pulled up, to be honest with you. But I think AJ got a touchdown. I know Saquon, I think he had almost 200 yards, close to it. But I mean, we came in and did what we did the first time when we beat them game 1. If not better, because we was at the end of the postseason. So I don't really got too much to say on that game. That was a dub.
This game was honestly it was a very defensive battle. It was 22-10 Eagles. Jordan Love threw for 212 yards, but 3 picks. Hurts only threw for 131, but he had 2 touchdowns. Jacobs had 18 for 81 a touchdown. Saquon had 25 carries for 119. Smitty was the top receiver, 4 receptions for 55 yards. When you talk about Eagles players, because we don't talk too much about Green Bay, they're going home after this, so they can think about stuff when they're at home. Hurts had 6 rushes for 36 yards. Gainwell had 3 for 14. The touchdowns came. Dallas Goedert had a touchdown, 4 receptions, 47 yards and a touchdown. Jahan Dotson had 1 for 11 and a touchdown. A.J. Brownlee had 1 catch for 10 yards. Barkley had 2 for 4. Calcaterra had 1 for 4. So there wasn't a lot that we did offensively besides pound the ball with the run, because we ran the ball like 35 times or 34 times. Everybody had good averages. The interceptions definitely, were a big help. Quinyon Mitchell had 1. Zach Bond had 1, and Darius Slay had 1. So we had 3 guys get picks in that game. It was one of those games where you could tell that we came to play. Like we didn't put up a lot of points, and we probably should have put up more points. But at the end of the day, the defense came and said, hey, y'all just don't mess up. Don't turn the ball over. Control the ball, manage the clock. We'll win the game. And they did.
Right.
But I will say Green Bay did come to play. They just weren't able to match what we were able to do defensively. They weren't prepared for the Eagles' defensive onslaught. It was nowhere near what it was when we played them before. And I think they realized that a little bit too late. But, we take all wins. This was the beginning of March. We lose this game, it's over. This is when you get to win and go home football. And sometimes people who haven't really been in that situation will maybe not play as good as they can. And that's one of the things that we even talked about on here about Green Bay is they don't really have that go-to guy. Right? They don't have that one guy. Like we have AJ Brown, we got Devontae Smith. If you need a big play down the field, you're probably going to look for Smitty. Not that AJ Brown can't make them, but if you need a catch and run or you need to get a big play, AJ Brown's your guy you look for too. So you kind of got guys that you can look for in those situations. When you don't have guys that have the experience and the confidence, and you had the confidence in them to make those plays to them, it makes it harder. And it just felt like we imposed our will on Green Bay, and we did what we needed to do to get a dub, and we continued on, to the next round of the playoffs, and we'll be talking about that next week, y'all. So make sure that y'all, tune in. We're getting closer to ending things. We'll be talking about the second game. We'll also talk about the way too early power rankings next week. I was looking and saw, I'm like, we already got multiple week power rankings, y'all. Like, we're not even talking about just started. And we're not even through the preseason yet. But, hey, somebody got to have something to do with their time, right? So, I guess that's what they chose. Diva, any last words?
# be elite. We will see y'all next week. We got another preseason game on Saturday against the Browns. And we back and we ready. Let's go.
# Fly Eagles Fly. And hey, make sure you're here. We're going to be here. And it's going to be a fun time. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you tell your friends, friends. Make sure you share everything, for your peoples. And we'll see you back next week.
Sure.